All right, Raider Nation, Raider Nation, stand up. Please stand up. It's not your fault that they're on a 2-game losing streak. It's not your fault that we can't tackle. It's not your fault that on that first touchdown pass by Josh Allen, that 5 receivers were wide open, and no Raider was within 15 yards of of any receiver on that play. It's not your fault. Raider Nation, please. Cover 3D Raider podcast here. Definitely check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Cover 3 Deep. And also, please listen to the Blackout podcast, the East Coast Nation podcast, the Put On Waivers podcast, and the Put On Fantasy Football podcast, which with me and myself and Austin Perez get some good info before you make those picks or such a lineups, if you will, for fantasy football. I just want to shout out to people who are listening in San Diego, Santa Rosa, California, Paradise, Nevada. Obviously, Nevada is the home of the Raiders, right? Or one of the homes. Provo, Utah, Ojoro Valley, Arizona. Let's see here. What else we got in here? Stock, Newington, England. Albuquerque, New Mexico. And last one, I'll give you because I used to live on the East Coast. Thanks for the folks listening in Guilford, Connecticut, if you will.
Nice.
Connecticut. CT coming through here on the Cover 3D Raider podcast. So I want to start off with some questions really quick from 718. I think it's a simple one, but it's not really that. It's not simple. It's kind of a little complex, I guess, because there is a relationship between Gruden and Paul Guenther. But why is PG still here? Why is this defense still rated PG? if you will, Ken.
Oh man, you're gonna pick on me first. It's so frustrating because even this goes back to last season. I just did not believe in Paul Guenther, and you kind of got a glimpse of what could happen towards the end of the season. But even still, it was like we were just accepting mediocrity, and I just don't get it. I really don't. I think it's frustrating.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah, I'm trying to just give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, he's playing with a lot of first-year players and new free agents and stuff, and the chemistry has to be there. But I just don't get it. And you got what's his name, Wade Phillips out there sitting there.
Big name.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's tweeting that he wants to coach. So, I mean, any day of the week, I would take him over Guenther.
My brother, please.
Yeah, I hope this, if we get blown out again by Kansas City, and I hope we come back with a different defensive coordinator. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty depressing. It's hard. You just really look at it. 3 drafts with Guenther, 3 off seasons. Okay. Yeah, Gruden was a little selfish with wanting the offensive picks there, but we trade away a lot of players to have this draft capital. We've signed people. We brought in top-tier players that played well in other teams, other schemes, and it's just not working. And when you look at it, we're basically 31st or 32nd in every major defensive category. We are worse than last year. Okay, part of that, yes, we faced a Teddy Bridgewater offense that looks a lot better than we thought it would. We faced Drew Brees and the Saints. It's a great offense to face. We faced the Patriots, a little different style this year, but with Cam Newton, they have a running attack and the mastermind of Bill Belichick. And then we faced potential MVP candidate is playing out of his mind, Josh Allen. So that's part of it. But you cannot tell me that because you're playing better talent, there's 3-4 people wide open. And you got a bunch of players in the middle covering grass, things like that. So something's got to give. We understand the relationship Guenther has with Gruden, friendship-wise, off the field. That plays a role in it. It's just amazing to me. We're like, oh, PJ Hall, you're out of shape. Get out of here. You can't play with us. Gary Conley, you don't want to come and tackle. You're gone. And then it's like, but Guenther, you're still safe. So very frustrating. But he gets another chance to slightly redeem himself this week.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea how he still keeps his job. It is what it is. I mean, I feel like the 3 of us are 3 hardworking young men, and I think if our jobs, were being done the way Paul Guenther is doing his job, we would have already been taught. We'd already be on our final warning, if you will.
On the street.
So, on the street,
don't,
which is me.
And you got Littleton calling him out on Twitter or his pressers. That sounds a lot.
Yeah.
Littleton can play.
Oh yeah.
Littleton can play. So like, Littleton cannot like this whole like you can't just like begrudge Corey Littleton. I mean, Corey Littleton, he probably says, "Damn, I could have stayed in with the Rams on a 1-year deal rather than deal with this." I mean, this is like, I mean, it is embarrassing for competitive players like Littleton, for competitive players like Kwiatkowski. This is embarrassing. Like they are. This is the communication isn't horrible, especially on third down. It's how many third. It could be 3rd and 27, and they give it up.
And then drag route first down. Yeah, it's tough, and you do point to that. Kwiatkowski did very well on a good Bears defense, and Littleton was essentially a borderline star playmaker at linebacker position in the Rams.
Yeah.
And those are decisions free agents brought in on Paul Gunther's dime. That's his check. That's his players to develop or showcase. He got the players he wanted. Arnett, he got the player in the back of the first round. Injury is something we can't protect. But he Mayock and Gruden. It goes 3 tiers though. They all said, "Oh, Eric Harris, high character guy. No one's gonna beat him out. No one's gonna beat him. It's gonna be hard to beat him out for that job."
His knowledge is so great of our system,
and that's great. You know what? And that's what's so tough about camp is a lot of guys do look good in practice, but when you have a preseason, you can see kind of what they're not good at. But Eric Harris, I thought we already knew he's a depth player, a good guy to have in a rotation, but he's not your every down free safety in today's NFL. He's just physically not up to par there, and he takes bad angles, he missed tackles. They have to own that. That's not just Gunther. That's Mayock saying, this is the guy we're going to roll out in a division that has Patrick Mahomes. That makes no sense to me. We moved on from Carl Joseph. I'd like him right now over that. There's other players out there. So something's they got to mend. They got to do something before the trade deadline. They have to try.
Yeah, but sorry. No, I'm just saying, I think it falls just like I said last week on another show that this is Gruden. Like, if Gruden's holding the team back by not making a move, that's purely on Gruden. Gunther, maybe Gunther doesn't want to be the defensive coordinator. Maybe he's burnt out. Maybe he's throwing. I don't know. There's no. Just going back to the original question, I don't know what the answer is, but I know that a lot of people are in agreement, and you can throw in the Carr factor in there, like people are on the fence with Carr. I don't think there's a lot of people on the fence with Gunther. There's a few. Right. There's a few. But I think it's purely on Gruden. He needs to figure it out and make a change or hold him really accountable, And I hope Marinelli's breathing down his neck because, I don't even know what's going on with the pass rush either. So Marinelli's kind of scaring me a little bit too.
There's times where they say in coaching, if you listen to the fans, you'll be sitting with them. I always say, you know what? Sometimes the fans are right. And we watch film too, and we may not have that whole library of life of being in and stuff like that, but we know that on a third down, there should not be 3 wide receivers open on one play.
It's too fundamentally simple,
especially in a confined area. Especially in a confined area where we're up against the goal line. From the 8-5-8, what happened to the running game? So, like, to me, the running game is really simple. People were very impressed with Josh Jacobs last year, and they said, hell no, this dude is not running all over my team. I'm going to put a huge emphasis on stopping the run. So what you can do to combat that, he's not Jordan Howard. He's not one of these guys who struggles to catch the ball out of the backfield. If you've ever seen Josh Jacobs in space, it is a thing of beauty watching him in space. So swing passes out of the backfield, screen passes. I saw a play where with Josh McDaniels, 2 wide receivers on the side with White behind. Those guys went out for streaks. He delayed, and it was just like a beautiful little slant pass. That's something that Josh Jacobs could do all day. He catch the football out of the backfield, Sean, and you can maybe pass to run sometimes instead of run to pass.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I believe I've seen that he's seen some of the most 8-box fronts in the league. And so he's getting that attention, especially with Incognito and Trent Brown down, especially with Ruggs and Edwards out. You got to assume people are like, okay, Carr's got Waller and a crafty Renfro and couple other guys that, hey, I'm not worried about those matchups, so they're gonna stack the box, and you have to adapt the game plan. I agree. I think when you look at good offensive coordinators, they find ways to get their players in space, whether it's misdirection, whether it's deep play action, whether it's boots and rollouts. You find ways to offset what the defense is trying to do to you, and that stopped Josh Jacobs. And yeah, he's good after contact. He's one of the best in the league after contact. But I'm just telling you, you keep giving him the ball like that and power, and he's getting beat up, man. You see him getting up, like the holes just aren't there, right? So the run game, like I said, this season, any team we can run the ball on, I'm confident we'll have a chance to win because everything else will fall into place. We'll eat a little bit more clock. We can move the sticks. Carr can operate a little better. It just helps. But when you're, we got to have those big chunk plays. We need Josh Jacobs going for 38 every now and then, up the sideline or whatever. Those pitch plays that were working earlier in the season, teams have set the edge against us now. They said, no, you're going to have to counter inside. We're not going to let Josh Jacobs run outside on us. We're going to push him out of the bounds on the sideline. So it's tough, and we don't have Edwards blocking, who was a great wide receiver blocking outside. So very frustrating. I still believe we have one of the best, most talented young running backs in the league. I just think, again,
he's still producing.
Rooted.
He's just not having the type of season he had last year. But if you look at it, he's actually doing pretty well. I think he's at maybe top 7 now in rushing yards. But he's still pretty good. And Sean, you mentioned a name that I think really drew an impact in the first couple games was Edwards. Edwards is picking up blocks like crazy. Obviously Trent Brown is going to clear up that right side there. But then even on the left side with Incognito there, you see Incognito being a road grader. So you also mentioned something that I just don't understand. Fans get it. Why don't the coaches get it? Change your game plan. Utilize Jacobs in a different way. You mentioned it. They mentioned it before the season. I want to catch 60 passes. You know what? Go back to that game.
Let him do it.
I mean, he's gonna make people miss.
And you know what? If they stop it, they stop it. Like, let's just try to showcase your best player. Just like we were critical when Waller only got 2 or 3 targets against the Patriots. I know they tried to take him away, but if you're showing team by team that you're letting defenses take away your best aspect on offense in that game plan, it's not going to go well. You need to find a way where you get – I'm not going to say you don't get stubborn, but you force the hand. You say, you know what, I'm getting Josh Jacobs 5 targets in the past game before halftime. I don't care how many possessions, how many times we are going to throw him the ball, and we're going to try it. And he slips a couple, and guess what? That opens up everything else, But unfortunately, we're just 3 scrubs with a podcast. We're not the head coach of the offense.
But why can't he just go back and look at the Patriots tape and say, you know what, Rex Burkhead ran all over us. Who? Rex Burkhead. And they took out. We neutralized Edelman for the most part. Who was I would probably say he's the best player, offensive weapon that they have. But they took him out. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter because Belichick found, okay, I'm going to use Sony Michel and I'm going to use Rex Burkhead. And they ran all over us. So why? I just don't get. Is it a stubbornness thing that Gruden has? Is it a Carr thing that I don't understand? I'll never understand it because you said it, Sean. We're just podcasters and we see what we see for the product that we buy into. So I just don't get it. You have great. We know that there are weapons on this team, and everybody has a flash here and there. So hopefully it comes together, but I'll never understand it.
Green Bay seems to move the football pretty well, and they have a myriad of weapons that have been down for a long period of time. So it's not a weapons thing. I would say use him the same way, the Niners for years used Roger Craig in that way. I mean, catching the ball in the backfield, you got to continue doing it.
Marshall Faulk, Curtis, my favorite, Martin. You just go down the list. Corey Dillon.
So many backs who were just talented as heck at catching the football. It changes the game. I mean, it changes the game. No question about it. 206. When will they admit that Cleveland Farrell is wasted space? He gets I didn't get the snaps report. I forgot to get the snaps report, but he is just
So he was
Yeah, I mean,
dominating
I
snaps,
don't know.
but he tailed off a little bit this last game. So they're
Okay.
starting to
Good.
exchange and remedy that a little bit more. Carl Nassib, who hasn't done much either, but a little bit more Key. They're just trying different things. It's frustrating. Like that was a guy I thought, I hate saying the word scheme fit, but I really thought he was going to be a Paul Gunther edge kind of player for us. And that's another thing.
Carlos Dunlap.
Carlos Dunlap,
Dunlap.
yeah, strong. But physical. I mean, he got his body into a different shape this year. He looked better. But I just don't see anyone, and he's just not instinctually good with anything he does, and he doesn't look strong how he plays. He gets sucked. He can't contain the edge. He's not applying pressure. It's just frustrating because, like you said, at some point, I mean, what gives here? I mean, we tried to play him inside. We tried to play him outside. You can tell when they ask about in the pressers about Cleveland, like they're like, we don't want to hear it, like because they to me, they blew the pick. I mean, they blew it. We might get something better out of him on the back end, but he's going to
35
really need
snaps
to
this
do
week.
something.
35
And then
snaps this week.
that was number 4 overall pick. So it's tough. It's frustrating. Again, that goes back to Paul Gunther. It goes back to Mayock. It goes back to Gruden.
That's exactly, I'm glad you said that because I don't think the talent isn't there. I think Furl, he's a proven, they won when Clemson won the championship and he was a big part of that. But is it the coaching and the techniques that they're trying to teach him? Maybe he's just not getting it, or maybe they're just not doing a good job of teaching it. Because if we're missing tackles, it's not just him; it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Guys like Crosby, he just plays with his hair on fire. He just wants to eat. So maybe that's the opinion. To go to the original question, when do you admit it? I mean, Sean, you said that he's a 4th-round pick. He's not playing. Or I'm sorry, a 4th pick in the draft. He's not playing up to that height. But then again, what happened? What do they? We missed on it. What do you want to know? Like, yeah, they missed on it. Who's going to admit that? No one's going to ever
Right. Nobody.
miss. It is what it is.
Until
he just kind of
until
plays
he's
out his
cut.
Contract and that's it. Yeah,
exactly. Until he's
plays
cut.
out his contract. Hopefully, we get something, and then that's it. But you're not going to just say, "Oh, yeah." 2 years later, we missed on that pick, or whatever. So it's just not going to happen. They're going to keep playing with it.
Yeah, Sean. The next question is: do you think we play the Chiefs and then we play the bye week, and then the Bucks?
Mm-hmm.
Ken, do you feel like we can split the next 2 games? Because I think that's what I think people were. If they see the Raiders split these next 2 games, will that give them the saving grace of like, hey, we're 6 games through, we're 3-3. The really hard part of our schedule is over. Although I would argue that we've seen the Colts, you've seen the Browns. So I would be easy on the easy part of the schedule.
Falcons offense ain't.
The Falcons offense is not going to be with our secondary. I mean, with the exception of Trayvon Mullen, it's been a mess. So, do you think they're going to split the next 2 games?
Okay. Here's my thoughts. I think it's highly possible. I'm not as worried about Tampa Bay as Brady had a really good game last week, but I'm not. I think we have a better chance of beating them than Kansas City. Here's my thoughts though on the Kansas City game, and I'm going to be really optimistic here. I wasn't optimistic about the Bills game. I figured we were going to lose that game, but I think that they have a lot to prove this game. I think that Gruden needs to go all out and dive into his bag of tricks, and Carr too. Carr has. I mean, if he's holding true to what he said in his presser, that I'm tired of losing. If Carr and Gruden win in Kansas City, I mean, he's not just satisfying the team and the owners of the team. He's going to satisfy a lot of people in Raider Nation and in the media. Because if they can go into Kansas City being 2-2 and beating an undefeated team, man, that's going to shut a lot of people up. So, and this is going to be. It starts with Gruden though. Gruden needs to. He better be staying up all night trying to figure out how to beat these guys, and it's not going to be from the defense. I can tell you that. You know, they get them one or two turnovers maybe, but it's got to be the offense. They got to score 35 something points here to and not stop. No conservative bullshit. You know, you get that 4th and 2, you better go for it. None of this field goal shit. You know.
Kansas City, Sean. What are your thoughts about that
no,
one?
it's funny. Like I've had the schedule. I feel confident in how I looked at the schedule a while back, and I really think. I think yes. To answer your question, I think we will split. I think we'll go 1-1. I think we win at Kansas City this week. I think we finally do it. I think I'm buying into the fact that hey, this team prior to this season, Gruden and Carr's biggest win together was Chicago Bears in London. For whatever amount of reasons, they thought that was a team that was going to be playoff bound and Khalil Mack trade and whatever. This year, I think now Gruden and Carr's biggest win was Monday Night Football against the New Orleans Saints, a Super Bowl aspiration type team with its offense that, if you just watched this last week, they were down 14-0 and a blink of an eye, it was 35-14. So that's still a very good team. I think Kansas City's a great team. I just think it's one of those games where someone's been spitting in your face for a while and you get up for it. And Kansas City's got a short week because of COVID. I know that's not fair to their own discretion, but it is what it is. And I feel like this team looked very good at 2-0, and they settled for field goals in the next two games. That's how I look at it. I'm not expecting, like you said, Ken, I'm not expecting anything from the defense. If they get a nice opportunistic big play or two, great. That's really going to help.
Just two. Yeah. Just two big plays. That's
two. Give me a a big 4th down stop and a fumble recovery on a short field. Great. And give that ball back to Carr and we'll have more possessions and something happens. But I really think if they don't settle for field goals in the New England Patriots game and the Buffalo's game, you guys understand we really could be 4-0. We really could. It would be, albeit with a terrible defense, but if you stop, you need to stay aggressive like they did against the Saints. If they dial up those play calls, I think they can split it. I am more worried about coming back after a bye week. I just think like we're in disrepair with injuries and a lot of things in a young team. I think like we can get the focus on track because they have a bad taste in their mouth. But I have them winning this week at Kansas City, and I think it'd be a huge upset. And I feel I
remember you doing that.
But I feel that just because I think a young team gets up for an opportunity to play a team like, hey, this is a Super Bowl champion. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is Travis Kelce. They hear this shit all week, right? No one's talking about any of these guys on the Raiders. They're talking about they're in disarray. The coaches might, the defensive coordinator might get fired. So I'm going to play that card this week. So yes, to answer that question, I think they will split. And if they do 3-3 to start the year with the type of schedule we've had, you gotta like that.
Maybe it's a trap game for Kansas City.
Good point. Yes.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, right? It is. The last three games. Last 3 games, 103-22, Kansas City Chiefs on the scoreboard. Okay, so we have been whooped by them. So this is like, I just feel we're due, and the weather's fine. We're going to Kansas City. Weather won't be a problem. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens as far as that goes. Let's skip the last question. I'm gonna just start with the news of the day. It looks like Ruggs and Trent Brown are back at practice. I guess that's something of an accomplishment. I guess Ruggs. Listen, Trent Brown. He's Trent Brown. He knows we need him, and that's something that I'll talk about Gruden in that situation a little bit later. But listen, he's an integral part of it. I don't think the offensive line did a really good job as far as in these last couple of weeks, guys. They're just holding on the fort. You do get Sam Young back last week. He played all right. You can move good inside where he belongs. Thoughts about those guys coming back to camp, coming back to practice, I should say.
I think Ruggs is huge. I think we got to see what he can do because we just spoke about Furl, and you see these other wide receivers. Obviously, it was going to be a big topic from this last draft class. Lamb is doing some stuff. And then what's the other kid's name in the Broncos?
Judy.
Even some of the other players, some of the other
Laviska Shenault is playing very well.
Shenault is doing some things.
Justin Jefferson.
So, Jefferson is tearing it up, So there's all these wide receivers that are doing stuff, and
Brandon
Edwards
Ayuk
looks like he was doing more. Ayuk, out of ASU. That's right. But yeah, I think that's a huge get, and whether they utilize him the right way and coach him the right way, because that's my concern. It's just the coaching and the preparation and the utilization of him, of all these playmakers. So can we are we going to have the conversation? Was Ruggs the wrong pick for the Raiders?
Oh dear God, I
Because
hope not.
I do too,
I
but
hope
you
not.
know what? This is the
I don't
game.
think.
You know, if
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he's got to come back with it. Obviously, Trent Brown is probably the best defensive or offensive line player, and you can say Rodney Hudson or whatnot, but one of those two is probably our best offensive line players, and it's going to help. It's going to help Jacobs out a lot. That's for damn sure. And Carr's going to feel a lot more confident throwing, with Big Trent in there. And the only thing I'm mad about is I can't heckle on Twitter Trent Brown anymore. So
To me, what I see is if you told me, oh, Damon Arnett's coming back this week, that's not going to really change anything. But I think maybe he's still got to develop. He needs more time. If you told me, someone else got help, I'm not worried. Our best chance of winning games is offense. So if you get back Trent Brown, a huge pillar at right tackle, and let's just say he's 80% and he can play, that is huge for the punishment Josh Jacobs is taking, right? And getting Incognito back, the whole cohesive unit back like that it's huge, gigantic, both metaphorically and in real life. I mean, Trent Brown is like 7 foot, 400 pounds, right? So I'm really looking at it in a very good way, because Henry Ruggs, what he does pre-snap and what we saw in the Carolina game, and what we saw is flashes of in the Saints game, when Zay Jones is the guy you're faking the end around reverse to, that defensive coordinator, they're not worried about. Okay?
they're just laughing about it. That's
Yeah,
funny.
but when Henry Ruggs is coming an end around and you got to fake that ball in the stomach and eventually you're going to pitch it, he will hurt you. Hamstrings linger. It's still a concern of mine. He's just practicing. He might not even play. Trent Brown might be practicing. They just may say, we're going to shelf you both during the bye week. We'll have you come back against Tampa. But for me, I think if both of those guys play and they're relatively, good to go, huge against this Kansas City defense. You got a guy like Tyrann Mathieu who just Honey Badger likes to come down. He likes to make plays. You need something out there to break up, what's so conservative about the play calling and kind of where the ball's being spread around by Carr. So I was happy. I didn't expect to see either of them practicing. So we'll see. But as far as talking about the goal this season is to show you can at least compete and hang with Kansas City. If not, you're waiting until next year, right? So I'm excited to get those guys back on offense.
Yeah, the two words I think Raider fans are sick of hearing is next year. So
yeah, right.
So hopefully
we're barely getting
it's week
out
4
of the
week 5.
It's a quarter.
Right. It's crazy.
It's a quarter, but I know I may have started the season with unicorns and rainbows, but I'm like down in like down in the basement right now as far as my feelings about the squad right now. But we'll see what happens in Kansas City. Let's recap the Bills real quick. Sean, I'm going to go first. Your personal recap of that game and what went wrong for the Raiders.
Much more the same that did with New England. I think it showed that, we do move the ball at times. We just had critical errors and we settled for field goals. And those things are just not going to add up with the type of defense we have. Throwing short of the sticks again in the red zone again happened. So I didn't like to see that. I thought we would see Waller more at wide receiver because the glaring injuries. They just stick him out there and let Moreau rock a little bit inside. Didn't see too much of that. In the game against the Patriots, Max Crosby's offsides on a punt. Huge play in that game. And this game, it was Moreau, legal formation. It was a touch. We lost a touchdown. So a little bit of undiscipline. There were some uncharacteristic flags. I say uncharacteristic, but we are always highly penalized. But in the games we won this year, the first two, we had those things in check. So didn't look good overall. I thought Carr played well. I really did. The fumbles are frustrating. Like he's like led the NFL in fumbles since he's been drafted. So he does have ball security issues. We know that. But I thought he played pretty well, to be honest. It's just when you get down in scoring position, the playbook's got to open up. whether it's Carr or Gruden, I'm going to blame both, but they need to get 7 on the board. And, all things considered, we hung around in portions of that game against a team a Bills team that's going to be in the playoffs and has a really good quarterback. So I'm leaning more positive, actually, from the things I saw. It's just, the defense, I just don't have anything to say about it. I just don't. It's not good, and I don't see it getting better anytime soon. So we need those 8-minute drives, those 8-minute scoring drives, but they need to be touchdown drives. If it's a field goal, we won't be winning many games
Yeah,
like that.
that's all for nothing if it's a field goal. I agree. I think we saw a lot of what we saw in the New England game. It's like we're beating our own selves. Like we don't want to. We're playing just to get by, not to win, not to step on their throats like we did New England or New Orleans. So, yeah, I want to see that. I think I want to see just Gruden show some balls on some of these plays and this play calling. Um, it's getting tiresome just saying, well, this person was out, this person was injured, whatnot. Just go out there and play. I mean, I can't tell you who Aaron Rodgers was throwing to because I know what's his face was out, but Devontae Adams was out, but I can't. And yeah, and
Lazard, his
Lazard was
star,
out.
yeah.
He's lighting it up, so there's no excuse there, and that guy's old as shit. So there just can't be any more excuses, and I agree. I'm not like totally upset about it because we are 2-2, and we all thought we'd be hanging around that 9-win record. So it's not like it's terrible disappointing or anything. There's still a lot of football to be left. We get out of the gates here. If we can go back to that other question, if we can go 1-1 these next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'll feel pretty good. But no, it can't be field goals and clean up the penalties. It's all on the offense. I'm kind of checked out on the defense unless we see something, a signing of some sort, or Gunther getting fired or something. Something major needs to change on that defense side of the ball. Trayvon Mullen is playing really good football right now.
Being wasted, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think we see shades of what Abram can do. It's got to be more consistent. Crosby's getting there. He's slowly but surely. But other than that, like, I'm not impressed with anybody else. I mean, and the best quarterbacks in the league. Actually, if you go back and we've played against really good quarterbacks, minus Bridgewater, we've played some really good
Teddy's
quarterbacks.
Look nice though. They just beat the Cardinals. So.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, continue.
No, that's it. I just, I'm hoping that we see some more changes from Buffalo into Kansas.
So I'm going to use one of Oahu Raiders Seanisms, as I like to say. So Sean, one of his Sean. So what Sean, I call these are Seanisms are what some of his patented phrases, and he'll say something like, one of them is like Carr needs everything to be perfect, which is like some people use that before. I'm thinking it's Gruden who needs everything to be perfect. Like, I mean, when he often goes on and on talking about I had a flanker at Tim Brown who I never had to worry about ever missing a game. Like, right. I mean, he's all these injuries. I mean, he's impatient with injuries because he doesn't want to have to play, the third and fourth string. Why? He's going to have to play Keelan Doss and people like that. He doesn't want to work through that. All those things. There's no overachievement with Gruden. His team's never really overachieved. Like, you look at his rosters. Like, you look at him at the beginning of the season, you say, okay, they're loaded. They're going to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. He never takes that 6-10 looking team to the playoffs, and that kind of makes me worrisome about this team as well until we get everybody back. Also, demeanor. The demeanor of him as an individual, that's old school. This isn't new school football. One thing, I'm not a Belichick guy. I can't stand Belichick, but he wins and he's great at it. But he took a bunch of specialists into his building who taught him how to talk and communicate with millennials and Gen Z. Like, that's deep freaking thinking for a head coach. And he did, and look at the results. Like, I mean, like, look at the result. I mean, like, he gets young people. He gets Shalik Calhoun to come out and ball, and ball for him after being cut from the Raiders. And like, to me, look at the like, the strategy of like a McVay, of a LaFleur, of Shanahan,
Yep.
Matt Nagy, who is Matt Nagy, Kevin Stefanski, who just beat the Cowboys and scored 85 million points to do so. His game-ending play, his Mariano Rivera play, was a reverse to Odell Beckham. That's thinking outside the box.
Oh,
That's
yeah, big time.
I mean, so to me, like, does the Chucky yelling, screaming coach win now? I think it's more of the strategy guys who, I never see Andy Reid grabbing somebody and or that whole, like, cursing at his quarterback for calling a timeout, like everybody put on Raiders Twitter the other day. Like, I don't know if his demeanor is one in which is a winning one, and I think and that must make me and that makes me worried. The last thing I'll say is the blue collar over blue chip has to freaking stop.
Oh yeah.
Like I do not do, like, the list of defensive linemen who were available or could have been traded for was DeForest Buckner, Calais Campbell, DJ Reader, Dante Fowler, Vic Beasley, Jerome Casey, Yannick Ngakoue, Mario Addison, Robert Quinn, and
Griffin, right?
Everett Griffin and Clowney. Like, go listen. It's harder. It's very difficult to replace Khalil Mack. We know that, but you should have like 3 or 4 guys on that defensive line who you can just rotate to go get the quarterback on third down. So that's pretty much it. I'm just disappointed in the whole kit and caboodle as far as what the Raiders are doing right now.
I think what you're saying there with Gruden is a reality. For me, it's like looking at his record. He's around a 500 coach, okay? And his biggest claim to fame was taking over a Tony Dungy well-coached team that had, top 10 best defense of all time, and he had a veteran quarterback. I mean, he what challenge did he have? And even when he had the reins as the Raiders, he, at that time, Gruden was looked at like Sean McVay is now, right? One of the youngest coaches in the league.
Very true. Yes.
And that was great. That was started in the late 90s. Okay. Now, to me, what I kind of drank the Kool-Aid on is what a lot of media pundits hit on, and which I thought was relevant. I thought, hey, Gruden had been out of the game a long time. But, people say, well, he's been in Oklahoma Sooners. He's been in their facility. He watches what that spread offense does. He's been in every NFL locker room. So to me, it was like, I thought we would get back Gruden. He would still be who he is, but I thought his offensive, because that's the side of the ball that he claims, I was expecting like read option stuff, like more pop passes, more reverses. God, how well did, the shovel passes and different things that are employed now in today's NFL offenses, the end around carries and things. I just, where is that? It looks like the same offense I watched before. The only difference is, we had 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers. We had Gannon, who moved the sticks a lot just because he could tuck it, run, and slide for 4 or 6. And, it was just a different setup the way it would operate. But to me, it's like, what's different? Like, to me, it's 1998. I'm watching like I said, Carr has to be perfect. Gruden has to be perfect. Like, when you're relying on yaks, like yards after catch, to get first downs, how is that a 2020 type of way to attack defenses like that? This isn't 1972. So part of it's injuries and stuff, but I agree, man. Gruden is like, I don't know if it's quietly or how people want to say it. When you give someone that much power, I don't know how a hot seat begins, but he said himself, if I don't get it done, I'll fire myself. Well, it's year 3. You've made all these huge moves and trades. You've built all this capital. Look at these other teams that go in and do the same thing. The Niners drafted close to us 3 years ago. They're a perennial Super Bowl contender right now. They were right next to us in the draft not long ago. So you look at a guy like Shanahan coming in, doing the right things. Gruden, you've had more top tier picks to make this better and free agency money to spend. what's going on? You're it's early in this season, but something's got to come to grip here, because if not, I don't know how I think of him, going forward. And eventually, what does he have to do? He either changes a quarterback or he fires his best friend and defensive coordinator. Does that change much for me? Not really.
Oh, that's great.
And think about it. And think of Cameron real quick. Think about it too. That the Texans just fired O'Brien, who took him to 4 straight playoff appearances, including like a up 24-0 at Kansas City.
Over 500 record.
No, I agree, Sean. I think when is enough enough, and right now it's looking very grim. You see like some gadget plays here and there, some Gruden plays here and there, but I mean, when Tyrann Matthews calling you out and saying, "Oh, we knew what they were going to do. That offense is so predictable." Like, it's embarrassing. And right now I'm feeling, and I hate to say this because I like Gruden, he's fun, but he's kind of embarrassing me. Like, he's embarrassing me as a Raider fan,
Yep.
and I got to go and I got to vouch for that. And nothing's happening. You get rid of Khalil Mack, which a lot of people say, "What the hell was he thinking?" And it's like, you know what? We trust in Gruden. But now it's like, I don't know, man. It's not working out too well. And
I have a
Dwayne,
problem again. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you said something that does Carr or Gruden need everything to be perfect? I thought about this on the show I did last night, and I said something that I thought was funny, and you actually would be able to relate to this probably. In Sean, you guys have that restaurant in your respective towns, when like that's not really popular, but the cooks it's good, right?
Yes.
You take there, and then you have like your high end fancy restaurants, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like some of these quarterbacks can cook on the fly, and make miracles, and make that food taste good. Carr is not one of those quarterbacks. He's like one of these high-end chefs that needs to have his line cook in place. He needs to have the right ingredients in place. He needs to have all this stuff. It's going to taste good, but all of it has to be lined up. So we need one of those cooks that damn, this is really good. I'm only paying $5 for this rather than a $50 for that. You know what I mean? And I hate to say this, but I don't think Carr and Gruden, I don't think it's working out.
No.
Because all I go back is to the 2017 season. Was it 2017, 2016?
2018 was Gruden's first.
So 2016, when Carr had his breakout year, he was playing the way he should be playing. He was throwing the ball down. He was all over the place. It was great. So I just don't think Carr is going to be Gruden's quarterback. He listens. He does exactly what the play is designed to do, but there's no improvisation there. So, I think that Carr needs everything to be perfect. And if it's not, then we see what happens with the fumbles or the throw to check downs
the margin for error is like nowhere, especially considering how the defense is. But I think you make a great point. Like, I'm looking around the AFC, Joey Burrow. I don't know if you guys have watched him play.
Oh, he's making magic.
I mean, he came out. Nobody knew, tank for Joey Burrow before last year, right? He was a one-hit wonder, right? So it wasn't like a preparation for that kind of player. But dear God, I'm watching him. I'm watching Kyler Murray. AFC. I'm sorry, Joey Burrow, Josh Allen. I mean, like, these guys. Tannehill is playing well in Tennessee at times. Like, it's just. And you look at like the way Herbert's coming in. I think he's like not looking great, but he's looking like okay. You have to be able to go off schedule a little bit, and it's like that we don't have that element in the offense. I'm not ready for. Although I criticize Carr all the time, I'm not ready for a quarterback who's going to be the quarterback of Raiders debate, because we've done this for a long time under Gruden. I really think Gruden is stubborn enough to where Carr will be his guy this offseason. I really do. But to me, I think you're bringing up something, Ken. To me, it's like if, say, we're middle of the pack, we're picking 15th or 16th in the draft, and there's a guy named, I don't think he survives there, a guy named Trey Lance or something. Eventually you got to add some seasoning to this offense to where like Gruden can look smart, because that's what Gannon did, right? I mean, he so many games he took over with his legs, moving the sticks and scoring in the red zone. So I think you're bringing up a good point. I just don't know when we'll see that. Like, it's hard for me, but it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, I kind of think it's the head coach. And I know that's kind of like a crazy thing. I kind of think it's the head coach. I think he is I think his demeanor as a human being is it's just a different time period now. I mean, I mean, like, even Belichick looks stoic on the sidelines. Like, I feel like, I just don't, I think it's a tactical game now. It's not the yeller and screamer. It's not the Lou Holtz grab a kid by a face mask.
Right.
It's I'm a head coach and Sean's a head coach and Ken's a head coach. And I have to be the smartest one of the three in order to beat one of you.
That's very fair.
I have to find that little nuance here and there, because I'm sure Kevin Stefanski was holding that reverse.
Oh yeah,
Odell Beckham the whole game and said, "Oh, they are in the look. Let's let that shit fly." And it worked perfectly fine. Also, the play that he ran with the first touchdown of the game, where it was Landry threw a bomb to
it's a touchdown.
Was a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I mean, I could definitely see if they ever. Number one, like, you have to get somebody who actually wants to play for John Gruden. So that's going to be something something else, because Mac didn't want to do it. Is Rodgers going to want to do that?
Antonio Brown.
Is a guy like who was the quarterback in Dallas? Dallas can't. Dak is going to be a free agent.
Prescott.
Dak Prescott is Dak Prescott going to want to play for somebody like Gruden? I don't really know.
I don't think so.
I mean, I think that I think for better or for worse, they're stuck with each other. But I think that for me, when Sean said, I got excited too. When Sean said all those things about, hey, he's been in this building, he's been in that building, he's acquired all this knowledge from all these different offenses, and I haven't seen it. And I think that's what and you have a guy
stubborn
and he's stubborn, and like, you have a guy, let's be honest, who say what you want about Derek. Like, say what you. I mean, I understand. I'm more of a Derek fan than some people are, and I get it. He's sitting right behind me. You can see him. But you see him right there. Right?
There's two of them.
Two of them. But I would say like, the stuff that he does very, very well, I see it sometimes. I don't see it all the time. And I feel like the calm demeanor that I think the calm demeanor that Musgrave had with him, like hearing those behind the scenes like conversations with him when he was mic'd up, like, on some of these games where, hey man, if they're in that look, I don't feel comfortable throwing that ball there. Like, just a nice conversation in between those two used to always be, to me, I was like, okay, we got something there. And then when they had the idiot coming after him who was way over his head, that was something different. But I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of my thought about it. I think you can see Derek go somewhere else and just blow up again.
No, that's
the right
a good
situation.
Point. That's a very good
which
point.
would be embarrassing to the Raider franchise and Gruden. Like, I think if that happened, Gruden would quit. I don't think he would even finish the season.
Derek is a good quarterback. He does play above average at some games, some plays, but not a full game. He's not above average in full games. I love Derek Carr. I really do. I like him. I like him as a human. I think he's good person, but I just don't think that as long as Gruden's there and Carr,
you chose him. Yeah, Gruden you chose him. So let's not go in with him because you chose him. You had ample opportunity to get different quarterbacks and you didn't do that. It's Chiefs week. Oh, go ahead. By all means.
No. I was just saying. I'm wondering what's going to happen. Obviously, if things keep going the way they are, and Carr's having a pretty decent season. Sean, you mentioned about the padded stats towards the end of the game, but I think I'd love to see. I'd love him to see go all in on Aaron Rodgers. That would be awesome.
I mean, I don't think it won't happen. It won't happen. Rodgers is an asshole.
New England.
He's an asshole. He's not going to play for an asshole Gruden because Rodgers is way above anything Gruden can try to emphasize or bring to his game. He's one of the best that ever played the position.
He pretends to not hear the play call if he doesn't like it.
And that's what I was gonna say is, like, when I look at this, like I take in point what you guys are saying, like Carr could go somewhere else and be good. I don't know. I think that's left to be seen. What I think it is when Peyton Manning was just on a tear in Indianapolis Colts. Can any of you name his offensive coordinator? When Big Ben won a Super Bowl, can anyone name his offensive coordinator?
Adam Gase was the offense coordinator.
Okay, so
When I was
you
there.
you go around the league and you talk about the best streaks of these players, Brett Favre, and no one talks about the system and the coach. The quarterback did it. There was a play called, there was a system in place, but they elevated the players, they elevated the offense, because they wanted to. Like you pointed out, like Aaron Rodgers is like, no, fuck it, I can't hear it. Sorry, I'm running what I want to run. And that's a point that Dwayne, you hit on, is that these players are different, right? This league is different. Like the way minds think are different. And I just, for me, maybe Carr be good somewhere else. Maybe he won't. I'm kind of like mild on that. I think he'll be much more the same, like very accurate and, very smart and good leader, but doesn't get it done. To me, it's like it's Gruden and Carr. They're literally like the worst mix of personalities and conservative offense and things. It's just, it looks so great at times, and then other times it's like, okay, so here's what sometimes you watch the game when it's like 3rd and 8 and Carr throws short, and I see him pull his chin strap off, and I see Gruden just put his 2 arms on his chest with his play sheet, and sometimes they don't even talk. And to me, it's like, that's so tongue-in-cheek for how it works with them. Like, I agree with Dwayne saying it's not the spit in your face, yell at you on the sidelines, grab by the – it doesn't. But, Gruden, he doesn't want to cross that line. He has a yes man in Carr. He'll do what he does, and he'll do it till he drowns, till it makes him look bad. And that's what's happened at times. It's just like Lynn Bowden. Like, we brought in a playmaker, a guy that we could use, and something about him too flashy, a little bit this off the field, and he's gone. Guess what? We've failed in short yardage in the red zone often. We could use a guy like that, but Gruden's stubborn. He can't adapt to these players in today's game. People show him the Ferrari. This is the Ferrari, but he's still saying, well, I got it done with a beat up truck, right? So the philosophy doesn't work.
Did you see the Chiefs Patriot game? The 2 touchdowns?
Yes.
Though that play where it was a shotgun and he just like a no look pass right to the person who was running a jet sweep, that play came from the Patriots and they stole it. And that's what you got to. There should be somebody watching film across the league and they, oh, that's cute. I'm gonna take that play and we're gonna implement that. Like that play, that guy doesn't. I see the same. Like I said, formationally, everything. I see the same kind of stuff all the time. I thought we were gonna see a little bit more, something a little bit more, some like. I feel like if I'm watching the Chiefs pizza, it got everything I want on it. I'm watching the Raiders pizza, it's just cheese.
Yeah.
And maybe a little pepperoni in the corner. Like, you know what I mean?
On one slice.
One slice sometimes. It's Chiefs week. Ken, thoughts about the Chiefs? They are what we thought they were. I mean, they are a tremendous offensive team. They are a great, well-coached team. If Eric Bieniemy does not get the job in Houston, I'd be absolutely shocked. That's a perfect job for Eric Bieniemy. I'm sure everybody in the world wants to get that job, working with Deshaun Watson. But he's a Chief right now. What are your thoughts about the Chiefs and the Raiders prospects going to Arrowhead and maybe finally getting a victory?
Well, we a lot of the show we spoke about coaching, and I think you talk about Andy Reid, like him or not, Andy Reid is a really good coach. It goes back to
great coach
in Philly, and it's something that Gruden isn't, right? He's nowhere near what Andy Reid's doing. Not a lot of people are, and if you can go out there and game plan against Andy Reid, defense isn't going to do anything, but on the offense, then
it's just horrible.
Like I said, I've given up all hope on defense, but I think it's going to be a closer game than everybody thinks. That's what I want to see, at least. And if they go out there and they put up a fight, and it's something that goes into the last 2 minutes, and if we lose, I don't want to lose, but I want to see them fight like tooth and nail, and you're going to beat me, but you're going to be walking home with a missing eyeball or something. You know what I mean? Like I want to see that gritty, like we got nothing to lose, so let's go for it on fourth and 3. This is our Super Bowl right now against Kansas City in their home. It's going to be on TV. I don't know what they need to do, but they got to figure it out. And I would love to see Jacobs start getting going here. But as far as Kansas City goes, they are a complete team. They on both sides of the ball. and I can't think of any weaknesses, to tell you the truth. I really can't. But it's scary. They're scary good, and they remind me a lot of the Patriots back when a few years ago when they went their back-to-backs and stuff like that. So when they were just unbeatable. So that's what I'm seeing right now. Mahomes is a scary guy. I'm hoping that, Gilmore did us a favor and gave him a little bit of COVID. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Kansas City has it all going on. The coach, the quarterback, and if you look what happened in free agency, a lot of people thought they were going to lose a lot of money, right? They were going to lose a lot of the cap. They would be in this problem paying Mahomes $500 million and things. But I just think it's tough. You have to go there and you have to rise up and figure out a game plan. But I think they can hit it. Like if Josh Jacobs has like 60 yards after the first quarter, all-purpose yards, we're gonna have a shot to hang around. We got to get him involved.
I like that term. All purpose.
That's what I could care less if it's 50 rushing, 10 receiving, or all 60 receiving. He just needs to get going, and if we can do that, we can eat a little clock. We can keep the Kermit the Frog quarterback on the sideline a little longer next to his coach Andy Reid, and I'll be comfortable as a fan if we can sustain long drives. But again, this is year 3 of Gruden and Carr. You draft and you add free agent players to win your division. Well, it's year 3. This is a measuring stick game. If you go in there and lose 35-13, you're not even close. So I don't care about the injuries. Hopefully Trenton Ruggs are available, but something's got to give this week, and I hope there's a bad taste in their mouth from what they put out the last 2 weeks.
That's the
only
point.
thing. Go ahead, Kev.
No, I'm just vouching for Sean there. One thing I don't want to see. I don't want to see if we win the coin toss. Don't give Mahomes the ball first, man. You take that ball and you score. You set the tone of the game. That's what I want to see
on the road. Yep.
I agree. Listen, I've been spitting out move the pocket and go up tempo a little bit more for weeks and weeks and weeks. Whether I see it or not, we'll have to see. Only time I want to see Carlson on the field is for extra point. Like, I mean, this is dead. Yes. I know some Raider fans like to post that he scored more points than the Jets have. Like, which is it's true and it's kind of disgusting. But yes, Darren Carlson has scored more points than the Jets have.
We play the Jets later this year. Thank God.
So
if he's on the field to win the game, I'm okay with it. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I would say this. It's an opportunity out here to finally to fulfill this. Like, go out here and listen. I want to be palm sweaty in the fourth quarter. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I've not had that feeling in Kansas City in forever. Probably since the game that pretty much got Musgrave fired. The ball when Carr had Cooper deep for that long pass and then hit the NBC camera. It hit the NBC camera, which was like crazy. But to me, this is the moment you built for, and you got to go out there and do it. Crosby has to be an animal today. An animal on Sunday because they really don't have any other pass rushers. And I joked with Sean and Ken in the group thread we have. We almost knocked Josh Allen out of the game because of a cornerback blitz. Little old Keyshawn Nixon took down the big old quarterback and almost knocked him out of the game. Did I see Keyshawn Nixon do it again the rest of the game? Of course not.
Nope.
Of course not. So those are the kind of things that you gotta be willing and ready to go with. My only criticism all I want to see is just a competitive game. Can you do that? You should be able to. Are they a good team? Yes. Are they a great team? Yes. But the average margin of victory in the National Football League is under a touchdown. Be in the game and give yourself a chance. Maybe you get a fumble. Maybe you get an interception. He threw one up for grabs against the Patriots. That they dropped the interception on that play, and they could have won the game on that. So It's crazy.
And didn't the Patriots hang around? I mean, they
It was
really
close.
did.
They
Kansas
had it
City.
won.
I mean,
They had it won.
if they had Cam Newton, I mean, you're talking about they were playing two backup quarterbacks, and they hung around for a little bit. A couple critical mistakes changed the trajectory of the outcome. But if we can do the same thing, Derek Carr is not Stidham and Hoyer. Like we have a little bit of a better organization offensively. Whether we don't like what Gruden doing or not, but if that's how they're gonna play, and now they're on a short week returning home, hey,
Underrated.
Go punch them in the mouth first. The pressure's on them. Who cares? We're probably gonna be. I didn't even look at it. Are we 8, 9, 10-point underdogs?
Probably 12.5. Who knows?
Yeah.
I would say. I would say the unsung hero of that team is Spagnuolo, who can really coach. And really coach defense. And I think like he's in a situation where only thing he wants to do is force turnovers. That's it. Like because he knows he has that offense that's going to score 30 points eventually. So something to think about as well, as far as that goes. On a Cover 3 Deep Raider podcast, Ken, anything you want to add to the summation of the program?
No, great job, everybody. I as far as Raider Nation goes, hang in there. Like I said, there's still a lot of football to be played. We've got 2 tough games. Support the team, support the quarterback, and then let's see what happens. I feel good about this week. I want to see Moreau get involved as well. I forgot to say that. I got to see more Moreau, man. That guy can ball.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get why he's not getting more touches there. I like that they're using Ingold a lot more, though. I do like that. And how about Nelson Aguilar? Can we just talk about him for a second? He has been a pleasant surprise. I just think that we get him going. It's okay that Edwards is out. If Ruggs is playing, give me Aguilar, Ruggs, and Renfro. That's a good.
Yep.
That's a good trio there. And then you get the 2 tight ends going and a little bit of Witten. There's no excuse for not scoring 30 points in this game with those type of players. So and also, I want to see more Theo Riddick. You saw that run. That guy looked jacked.
I think he went back to the practice squad though.
Yes.
Did he really? Oh my gosh.
Which I thought. I didn't think he played poorly. I just think that we went back to the practice squad for whatever reason. So.
But yeah, I'm feeling positive. And I just, like you said, Dwayne, and I said it too. If they lose, I just want to see a really competitive, down to the wire game where we go out there, we prove all these moves that we've done this last couple of years to beat this juggernaut in Kansas City.
Foster Moreau, just before you go, Sean, 10 snaps. 10 snaps last week. 10 snaps.
Unacceptable. I mean, when the ball goes his way, things have positively happened for 2 straight years now. I think he deserves a little bit more run. When I look at his game, Mahomes, he's around 1,100 passing, 11 touchdowns. Carr, right around 1,100, 8 touchdowns. Jacobs and Edwards, CDA, they're both around 300 rushing, 3 touchdowns. Jacobs, 1 for him. Waller and Kelsey are the leading receivers for both offense, right around the same, about 250 to 300. So there are some mere similarities in these teams. It's just the biggest defense is the defense, right? So difference is the defense. So you're just going to have to, keep the pedal in the metal. You may have to call a fake punt. You may have to call
yes.
You may have to have something special return wise, block punts. I mean, you got to find
Renfro.
Something, Renfro. You got to pull all the tricks out. And you should, because I just looked at it. You're right. 13-point underdog. So if we go in there and have a couple of good drives and we kick field goals and it's 6-14.
Not good.
That doesn't spell well.
Hey, Sean and Ken, it might be a situation where, like, you know what, you go up 7-0 and you onside kick, Let's see if you can get
Fuck
the
it.
ball back.
I could care less.
You know what I mean?
And you're a 13-point dog.
You're gonna
Play to
need
win.
something.
Play to win, man. Play desperate.
You're gonna need you're exactly. You're gonna need something there. So I definitely
no
would
fumbles.
definitely
No stupid fumbles. That's what I'm. No stupid drop.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta play elite football because you're playing against an elite team.
And Waller needs to show up because last week he had a critical drop and he had a bad fumble.
That game,
that was a big turning point, you know.
Dude, what the hell was up with Waller on that pass over the middle where he clearly caught it and just didn't even he didn't gesture to Gruden to be like, hey, I caught it. I'm like, dude, what do you do? And another thing about last week that drove me crazy was they go up 30, they go up 30-16. Okay, fine, whatever. Dude, where was the pace? Oh my God. Hurry
no urgency.
up, dude. Everybody's walking back to the huddle. It's like, dude, Gru, let's go. Like, if you score with 8 minutes left, even though your defense is horrid,
you're in the game.
You're in the game. You have
anything can happen.
You're one play away from having the ball and trying to tie the score or go for a 2-point conversion. That drove me absolutely crazy, guys.
Bad coaching, bad leadership. That's what it is. That's
no question about it. Hey, real quick, from the world of Marvel, how do you feel about Jamie Foxx coming back in Spider-Man? Okay.
You know, it's funny. I actually liked him in that particular movie. I thought he stole the movie. Yeah. The whole Times Square scene was awesome, but I don't like it though. I think they.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw that. I wanted to ask you.
I do. So. He's going to be Spawn though, and I'm excited for that.
Spawn, he is. Yeah, I love Spawn. I'm excited about. So I'm excited about that. So listen, the podcasts are the Blackout Podcast, the East Coast Nation Podcast, the Put on Waivers Podcast, the Put on Fantasy Football Podcast, and the Cover 3D Raiders Podcast. Definitely check us out, and also Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Keep those questions coming, and leave a name. Leave a name.
Please.
We'll shout you out. I know the text line, but I mean, I don't know your number. You're not in my contacts, so that's what happens in the text line. So, all right, man. Listen, Ken's sign behind him. This is the way. So let's go Raiders. This is the way.
Let's do it.
See you next time.
Upset.